All right, ladies and gentlemen, we are going to talk about trusting the process. I hear this statement a lot in the community, Half Size Me community. I see it a lot in general online where people will just say, trust the process. But the problem is we sometimes confuse process with a system. And I think it all starts with the basic definitions, right? A process is a chemical or mechanical change in something that will either preserve or alter it. So it's when something is actually changed via chemical or mechanical methods and it changes over time. The system is a principle or procedure on how something is done. It is a scheme or method. Now, the reason these two definitions are so important is because process is pretty cut and dry. In the case of wanting to consume cooked food, let's use that as our process. Process is we take raw food, apply heat, we now have cooked food, so we can consume it, right? Very cut and dry. I've applied heat to the raw food. I now have cooked food to consume it. The process of cooking a food is very cut and dry. I must apply the heat. In order to lose weight, I must be in a calorie deficit. That's the process. The system is the way that a chef goes about cooking the food. They might chop every vegetable a certain way. They might like to lightly saute with olive oil. They may like to use medium heat in a specific skillet. And that is their system on how to cook the food, which in this case is the process of applying heat to have cooked food. Well, when we apply this idea to weight loss, the process of weight loss is you must be in a calorie deficit. If our goal is to change somebody's body over time or maintain a system, we ultimately have to manage calories. The system you use, the rules, the scheme, as they like to say, or the method, can be quite diverse, right? A system could be Nutrisystem. It could be Weight Watchers. It could be keto. It could be intermittent fasting. These are all systems. Why? Because it's somebody's specific way of doing it to hopefully create the calorie deficit. But the reason it's important for us to distinguish between these two things, when we say trust the process works. Just like applying heat to food works. You must be in a calorie deficit. What I often see people doing is trusting a system. Okay, so stay with me here. The system of Weight Watchers, eating X amount of points a day, is really not trusting the process, because unless you know for sure you're actually in a calorie deficit or eating at maintenance calories for you, then you are trusting a system, not a process. If you believe keto is the way and you put all your eggs in that basket and you say, I'm trusting the process, are you trusting the process of calorie deficit, or are you trusting the system of keto? And this is a big thought process that we need to kind of dive into, because you don't want to say, I'm trusting the process, which the process has been proven to work. If we drag your calories low enough, you're going to lose weight. If we really play around for a while, we'll find your maintenance calories. That process is pretty well researched by science. The system may not work for you. So if you're mistakenly saying, I'm trusting the process, but really you're trusting a system that's been around for a while, or someone has told you how great it is or how wonderful it worked for them, I want to encourage you to question that thought and say, this is interesting. Okay, so here's process. I apply heat to food, it's cooked. I'm in a calorie deficit, I lose weight. Very simple. The system is not so simple. The system has extra bonus points for the week. It has me eating 0-point foods. It has me eliminating certain food groups. It has me skipping certain meals at certain times. It's actually creating a situation maybe where I'm binge eating. All these things are happening in the system side of the paper that might negate the process side of the paper. So if we all stay in the process side, if we can really wrap our head around that and say, I must do the process if I want to see the change. And what I realize is that somebody's system that they claim will create that process for me may not work, or it may not actually be putting me in that calorie deficit that I know I need to be in. So just want to make sure we're clear on that, because when you say trust the process, are we being completely truthful with ourselves when we say that, or are we maybe accidentally trusting a system? The system is great if it makes the whole thing more enjoyable for you, and if it's something that actually works, it actually creates that process to occur. If that system does not create that process to occur and it's a misery to you, then you ditch it and you find a different system, right? So the calorie deficit must happen if weight loss is to occur. You can apply various systems to it in order to do that. Just like you apply heat to food to cook it, but your cooking style, your system of cooking, could look vastly different than mine, right? And not to mention the fact when you cook food, apply heat, you got microwaves, you got Instapots, you got crock pots. The system in which you do it can be crazy all over the place, right? Grilling, all these different things. Anytime we apply heat, we get cooked food. Thus, we can consume it. That's the process. The system can really be various, okay? So what are we walking away from this with? When I say trust the process, I need to dive a little deeper and make sure I'm actually meaning that and not meaning trusting a system. If a system is not creating the process of weight loss, it's not putting me in a calorie deficit, maybe I need to not trust that system and find a different system that works better for me. That's why in Half Size Me, I'm all about process. I'm all about you finding your habits, you finding your calorie range, because I know that the goal here is to get you in the process of weight loss. What's the process of weight loss? You eating less calories than you need to maintain your body weight. The system, people get really jacked up about the system. They worry about the system. They like systems with a lot of moving parts because I think it makes it seem more exciting. I personally think keeping the system as simple as possible is the key to long-term success. So just want to make sure we're clear on that, what a process is, right? It's mechanical, chemical change to get something to either be preserved or be altered. And then the system is the principles or practices that are like kind of a system that was created for a scheme or method to doing the process, like what we talked about cooking. You guys have a great day. I will talk to you soon.